Today's episode of the Just Keep Swimming podcast is brought to you by Audible. Audible is an online audiobook and podcast service offering over 10,000 books and the ability to listen to your favorite podcasts, including the Just Keep Swimming podcast. I personally use Audible all the time and suggest you take a listen to Intentional Living by John C. Maxwell. In this book, Mr. Maxwell shares his story on how he was able to live a noble and purposeful life and gives you tips and tricks so you can do the same. So please start your 30-day free trial now at www.audibletrial.com/JKS podcast, all lowercase. Again, that is www.audibletrial.com/JKS podcast. And if you have any more questions or concerns for the Just Keep Swimming podcast, you're always welcome to reach out to us on Facebook or at Instagram at Just Keep Swimming _podcast, or you can email us at jkspodcast702@gmail.com. And with that out the way, let's dive into it. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to the Just Keep Swimming podcast. This is your friend, your boy, your host, Mr. Adrian Jackson, back at it again with another great episode for you. And you already know who's with me. It's the man, the myth, the legend. It's Mr. 13, dropping hot beats for the city as always. So please make sure you guys check out his latest projects and keep up to date with them, because he always got some new fire for you, always on route. But today, ladies and gentlemen, I kind of want to talk about a pretty interesting topic that I kind of noticed this week, and I think it's a great topic to talk about always. You know me, I'm going to take my life and turn it into an episode for you guys. So today's episode, I want to talk about Ask an Expert. So as you guys know, there's probably plenty of times in our life where, you know, some things come up where we don't understand how it works, how to fix it, what the problem is, you know, and we need some more advice. And, you know, with this world that we're in right now, there's advice from everybody all over the place. You know, you can go on YouTube right now. I literally just did it. Go on YouTube, type in chicken pasta, and you're going to see thousands of recipes from thousands of content creators all talking about how this is the best of this and this is the best of that. And it's kind of hard to understand, you know who you should actually trust, you know, who you should actually listen to, you know, who you actually believe knows what they're talking about and not just throwing out fluff, or, you know, heard something and they're just regurgitating it back in their own words, you know, because there's a lot of stuff out there. Like, for example, there's this one YouTube video I watch, or these one, you know, I like guns, you know me, I'm a gun guy. So I've been watching a lot of gun videos recently, and it's interesting to see the difference between the ones who you can tell were in the armed forces and the ones who are just guns enthusiasts, you know. And it's kind of like the guns enthusiasts, yes, they have a lot of information to make, but when you hear the information come from the ones who are actually in combat and the ones who actually use their firearms in the way they're intended to be used, the advice they give is so much deeper and it hits a lot harder. And it's something about that experience that comes behind their voice that just makes it more relevant and makes you trust them more than you would somebody who just has a whole bunch of guns or just likes to go shooting, you know. Not to say there's anything wrong with that person, but you can tell the difference between an amateur and an expert, you know. And I think that's something that we all go through in life, and we have to really learn how to determine what voices to listen to. Recently, me and my father, we started a project to change the wall AC unit in my grandparents' house. And, you know, we thought it was going to be easy, you know, remove the unit, take the box off, replace it, fill in the gaps, piece of cake, you know. But then once we started on it, it wasn't working out for us at all. Like, we were up there for 2 hours, it was hot outside, and we couldn't figure out what was going on or why it's not just sliding out the way we thought it should slide out. So what we decided to do was, one, we went on YouTube and just watched some videos on YouTube of people taking them out. And, you know, you got the different people. You got the people that just hit the wall with a sledgehammer and knock it out that way. You got the people that, you know, take every single little screw out and do a I want to say misculated, but I can't say the term right now. But they do it very, very carefully and make sure that every step is taken a certain way. And it was like, as we were watching the videos and going through the internet, it was hard to figure out who to trust, who to listen to, what's the best advice. So what my dad decided to do was to call his homie up, because his homie actually does electronics and does installations of wall heaters, AC units, painting, tile. He does everything. Big shout out to Uncle Alan. He kills it all the time. So we hit up Alan up. Alan came through, looked at it for 5 minutes, was able to tell us what the issue was, blah, blah. This is how it should work, and then actually said, you know what, man, I can come back and do it next week. Let's do it next week. We can knock it out in a heartbeat. And it was kind of like a lot of stress and relief came over us, because we was able to ask the expert, and the expert came over and told us this is how it should go, and this is how it should work. With all of my years of expertise, this is how I believe it should work, and I trust his voice over everybody. After Alan came over and told us his opinion, we stopped looking up, we stopped researching, we stopped looking up everything, because we know the expert is here and he got it under control. So we're gonna trust the expert in his knowledge in his field, and I believe that comes to so many things. Like, there's so many times where I will literally call, like I did the other day, actually. I was hosting trivia, and I felt that every time I said a P, it popped really hard, and I was like, why is this? So I'd send a picture of my Focusrite or my mixer to Mr. 13, and it's like, yo, bro, how can I adjust this to make it so my P's aren't popping so hard? And he responded within 2 minutes, and he was like, you could try this, but honestly, it's not really going to work with that type of system. You need to really have a more digital software to make that work better. And I was like, oh, okay, bet. So I did his little adjustment, and after that I left it alone, because it's like, the expert just told me there's nothing I can really do to change this, so let's not stress it. So I think that right there is something that we all need to do. Medical, oh my goodness, if you guys have went on Google and ever Googled a symptom that you have, it's crazy how much information you get from medical websites, from websites that are quote unquote just focused on that disease, from doctors, from everything. But it's like, cool, I can get all of these things broken down and written down to me, but the best way to truly understand what's going on with me and this issue I'm going through right now is to actually go to the doctor's office and talk to a doctor face to face, and let them actually poke at you and draw the blood and do whatever test they need to do. That's the best way to get the true expert opinion, because you can't do all that over Google. Yes, you can call the telehealth and explain what you have going on, but a lot of times they do suggest you should actually go see a real physician in person, so they can touch you and feel what you feel and truly understand where you're coming from, because it's so hard to do that over a glass screen between two cameras over who knows how much distance between us, but it's like, you have to go and get that expert opinion, because if you don't get that expert opinion, you might just be stressing yourself out. So let's go over some tips on why the main reason we want to get an expert in our life. One, the expert has been doing this for a long time. They have so much time of trial and error. They have seen the patterns. They have seen and understand the variables that can possibly happen. And they have so much expertise on it. And if it is something new that they never seen, they have a bigger pool of knowledge to pull from to understand the situation and assess it in a better way than you could with your limited pool of knowledge. So that's one way we want to go see an expert. Two, it's going to help cut down cost and time in whatever it is that you're seeking out the help for. Right now, I'm kind of shopping for an everyday conceal and carry pistol, and it's like, yes, I can go on YouTube, listen to all these videos, see what everybody has to say. Everybody says this is the best, that's the best, whatever the case may be. But I find it more informing when I actually get the opportunity to go to an actual gun shop and talk to one of the people that are actually working in the gun shop, because this person has probably been working here for who knows how long. They're around guns all day long. They probably got one on their hip. So let me talk to this person right now that's probably carrying every single day and understands what it can be. A lot of times I can size a person up and see that, okay, me and you have the same size hands. So what gun works good for your hands? Because if it worked good for your hands, it's it's a high possibility it worked good for my hands compared to me watching a YouTube video with a little Asian girl. Nothing against Asians, but I know they have smaller hands than a big black man would, so it's like those right there, I can't really compare the two or really use her knowledge. I can use her knowledge, but it's not going to be that expert knowledge that I need that I can actually get for the situation and me being the person that I am, So, experts is just really helps you save time and energy, not waste your thoughts on things that you want to have to do. And then two, it helps you have confidence in moving forward in what you're about to do. When you get that expert opinion from your doctor saying, oh, ma'am, you're healthy as ox, just take this and go on, there's a bigger relief you get than you do when you just go on YouTube and read the symptoms and read the remedies of what can happen. It's just such a better feeling when the doctor looks you in the eye and says, take this and you'll be fine. That's a whole different sense of relaxation that you get. Recently I had my principal meetings going on, and I was nervous about the meetings because I'm not sure what's going on, but I stepped back and let my boss run the meetings, and she's an expert at running these meetings. She's an expert at talking with these principals. She's been doing it over 10 plus years. So I'm gonna let the expert do what she do. And that right there just made everything so much easier. The meetings were so much more relaxed. I felt so much more appreciated, and it felt good to know that there's an expert on my side. They may be talking about some things that I don't understand because my lingo is not there yet, but she has the ability to come back and explain to me what happened because she's an expert in what's going on and already know what's going on, So it's like, it's good to have that liaison that understands the information and goes what's going on. So one thing always when I think about the expert, one thing I always think about is the YouTube videos where they talk about, the guy was working on his hot water heater and, was working on it for 10 hours, couldn't figure it out. He called the plumber, and the plumber gets there, and within 15 minutes he has it fixed, but he charged the guy $1,000. And the guy is like, why are you charging me $1,000 when it only took you 15 minutes to fix? And he's like, oh yes, it took me 15 minutes to fix, but I'm not charging you for the fix. I'm charging you for all the years that I put into this craft to make it so I can come out here and solve the problem in 15 minutes compared to coming out here and solving the problem in 10 hours. Because if it took me 10 hours to solve a simple problem, would you still want to pay me that $1,000? Would you feel confident if that person was over there in the room knocking around and, doing a whole bunch of trial and errors to understand what's going on compared to the person that comes in, can look at it and say, oh, here's a problem right here, sir. And that right there just goes a long, long way. So, one thing I just want to share, and I think that is something that we all should focus on, is just try to get the expert opinion. Try to find that person that is 10 steps ahead of you in the field, in the question, whatever it is it may be. Try to find that person, reach out to them and get their opinion. Definitely if you know they have more knowledge for you in a certain field, because sometimes some people, they have knowledge, they have good knowledge, but maybe not the knowledge in the field that you need. Like, for example, people can come talk to me all you want to about positive mindsets, some books to read, how to use your power of words. I feel like I'm good in that field. But when it comes to money management and investing and stocks and bonds or sports picks or anything like that, that is not my field of specialty, and I stay away from it because I know I'm not a specialty in that field. And if I'm going to ask somebody about my flag football or my fantasy football picks, I'm gonna reach out to my older brother because I know my older brother pay attention to football more than I do. And I'm gonna reach out to my frat brother because I know he's more into sports than I am, and he has more knowledge in that field. And I'm not got to waste my time trying to figure out who to pick up or anything like that. I'm gonna trust these people because they're experts in the field and they haven't steered me wrong. So I'm not gonna fear that they're gonna steer me wrong now, So ladies and gentlemen, I hope that stuck with you today. I hope that made sense. If it did, please share some experiences you had when you were trying to figure something out, and then once you went to the expert, the light just shined through so easily that you were like, what is going on? But yeah, with all that being said, we just want to thank you guys so much for listening, for your constant viewership. We truly appreciate you guys always. We hope you guys have a great day, a marvelous afternoon, a splendid evening, and remember to just keep swimming.